Hey everybody, and welcome. I'm Shelly Palmer. This is Web3 Wednesday. I am super happy you're here. Thanks everyone for joining me this morning. Chat is where it's at. We're here on YouTube Live. So if you are able to chat, please tell me where you are, tell me who you are, and of course tell each other what you do so you guys can have some fun in chat. Today we have a lot to cover. Great stuff's going on in the world. We have some fun with Coinbase. We've got some fun with the social network effect at Facebook. There's been an awful lot going on with, let's say, YouTube and the DOJ. They seized $3.6 billion worth of Bitcoin. So, yeah, there's a lot going on. Again, please, everyone, just tell me who you are, tell me where you are, tell me what's going on. I'm excited to hear from you today. This is an Ask Me Anything kind of day, so you're absolutely welcome to just, talk to me in chat. That'd be fantastic. So let's jump right into it today. The most interesting thing I think that happened at the Super Bowl in the crypto world had to be this. This commercial, this is Coinbase's mystery QR code commercial. And look, they got over 20 million people to scan this commercial, which is unbelievable when you think about it. Considering the fact that now this is scammer heaven, because no one knows which QR code that is. It's just a bouncing thing. So yeah, sure, why not? That's super fun. I guess that's super fun. The issue, of course, is that you don't know if that's the real QR code or the fake QR code. I actually don't even know if that's the real fake or fake QR code. It was at drop.coinbase.com is where it should have taken you to. You should be able to get some stuff. So yeah, craziness. Let's see, what was the deal? The deal was you get $15 of free Bitcoin if you signed up, but then everybody got all upset because you had to give us a funding source, which meant you had to put your bank account information in there, and then you had to say how much you wanted to transfer. People got very confused. Some people thought they were giving you 15 bucks for 10 bucks back. It was really quite a hot mess. In practice, QR codes are not as trustable as they used to be, and but I thought it was a great commercial, funny commercial, just look, it brought back the old days in a lot of old ways. All right, who's here? We got Justin, welcome from Kansas, and we've got David Charmatz, welcome, and Chris from Las Vegas, glad you're here. The Weekend Warrior, media and entertainment lover, great, and Breezeway Productions, and all kinds of people. Grant, Charlie from Detroit. And we've got Marvin from San Jose. This is a big crowd today. We're very excited to have you all here. Tell everybody what you do. If you have a question, any kind of question, please, just throw it in chat. Joey will try and put them up on the screen for you, and or for me, and I'll put them up on the screen. And then we can just take your questions and talk about it. Yeah, Charlie, I was too. I was shocked at how many people just random QR code, go for it. But I guess during a Super Bowl ad, it wasn't that random. It's after the fact on YouTube that I thought it was weird, right? Because it's like you just don't know what that QR code is. Hey there, Mickey. Glad you're with us. And Frank, glad you're here. Larry Samuels, welcome. Glad everybody's here today. So again, chat's where it's at. Please put your stuff in chat. We're going to go right for it. We're going to have some fun today. Today's a good day. What's going on? We talked about Coinbase. What else can we talk about today? Oh, yeah. I guess we have to talk a little bit about our friends at Facebook, the network effect, the social network effect, if you will. While I was off last week, they lost $250 million in market cap, which I'm sorry, $250 million. $250 billion in market cap, not $250 billion, $250 billion in market cap, which, that's a few billion here, a few billion there. After a while, turns into real money. A couple things went down that were interesting about that. Facebook has always been a company that was a growth company. They always relied on growth, and they always said to the street, we are going to grow. Therefore, we should be valued at how we grow. And I think at a certain point that had to end, because let's face it, there are about 4 billion people on the public internet, give or take a few hundred million, in a world of about 700 billion. I'm sorry, about 7 billion people, and about 3 out of 4 people on the public internet, more or less, are on Facebook. So at a certain point, you're just going to run out of people. I mean, so it was going to have to stop growing at some point. That didn't bother me so much. I know it bothered the street a lot that they couldn't grow, but what I thought was pretty telling. Glad to see you too, Scott Moss. Glad to see you, Sheila Buckley. Jason Palmer, welcome. Steve Grubbs, hey. Paul Candelora, hey, how are you? Tom Herman, good to see you too. What bothered me more than anything, I think, was that they said there were going to be some headwinds with small businesses. Now, Facebook has about 7 million individual small business customers around the world. It's a pretty large group. And the reason's obvious. First of all, it's a very, very good place to use advertising dollars. You can target really tightly. Full disclosure, Facebook's a client. We love them. We don't love them unconditionally. We are pretty tough love loving them, but they are good sponsors of our stuff. So I'm just want you to say that because I'm not going to be very nice to them right now. But I am going to tell it like it is. If you have an advertising dollar to spend, you're going to get a fairly decent ROAS, return on advertiser spend, with your Facebook dollar. So, it's like a video game. If you go to buy an ad on Facebook, it's incredibly simple, and there are pull-down menus, and you say, well, I want two-headed Martians that eat their young on Thursday nights within 5 miles of my home, and you're going to get that demographic, and you'll be able to target that audience. And it's going to be priced right because it's priced auction-wise. So, it's done in an auction. The idea that a small business would cut its Facebook advertising and that Facebook would think that those headwinds needed to be talked about on an earnings call, that's a big deal. That's a big deal not for Facebook. That's a big deal for everybody else. Yes, small businesses tend to cut their advertising budgets before they do anything, right? Because it doesn't impact anything. You can't cut heat. You can't cut light. You can't cut the rent. You can't. I mean, there's nothing you can cut. You might be able to cut some staff, but at a certain point, you're at a skeleton crew or just the crew you need. You can't cut your insurance. You can't cut a lot of things. But advertising and marketing, you can cut that immediately. And although it's stupid, you don't feel it, right? You actually get a little extra cash flow. What you don't realize is you're cutting your nose to spite your face. If you're a small business, the way to get yourself out of a slump in sales is to drive velocity at retail by creating good marketing and then advertising the hell out of it. Facebook is a great place to create awareness locally with people who will drive velocity at retail for your product and service. The idea that they're going to feel these headwinds says an awful lot about what we're going into. Add that to the inflation numbers, and it doesn't paint the greatest picture ever for what's coming. There are people who would argue with me about that. Please do. Happy to talk about it in chat. Happy to talk about it anywhere. Happy to debate it. I'd love to be wrong, too. It'd be fantastic if I did not know what I was talking about. But I do know what I'm talking about. And generally, when small businesses cut, it's saying an awful lot about what the general economy is going to do. So, yeah, let's see how this all plays out. I have high hopes. Things seem to be working a little bit better than they had been. But the threat of new inflation, new interest rates, higher interest rates and inflation are as big as ever. I think a lot of people think this is coming. Let's see how this all goes. This week, what else happened? Well, YouTube announced its plans to do some creator class NFTs, drop some NFTs. It was not universally loved. Here's a tweet from @SadlyIt'sBrady, and @SadlyIt'sBrady tweeted, "My YouTube content is not meant to be owned. That's why I make it available free," all caps. Who the hell thinks this is a good concept? No. Yeah. There were a lot of sentiments like that all over the interweb last week. Let's talk about NFTs for a second because everybody has a different approach to what that means. What is an NFT and what can it do and what can it do? If an NFT is a smart contract, and most are, what that does in its principle is allow the creator to share in the value they create. That's its job. That's its value proposition. An NFT, a smart contract specifically, can help a creator share in the value they create. Okay? So if you're a YouTube creator and you want to have a loyalty program, you could have a loyalty card and loyalty points. You could create a very ordinary card with or loyalty program with a database. Well-structured database, secure password. Everyone can have a login. Everyone can have a loyalty account, just like you do at American Airlines or Delta Airlines or your credit card companies. Of course you could do that. Not too exciting. There's no real marketplace for the points. You need an awful lot of things to go right for you to do that. It's super easy for you to take a piece of your creative to build a really nice fan development program. And the NFTs then can be they can be programmed, or you can craft the smart contracts to help you, the creator, share in the value you create. So if a fan has something special from you, or you use it to give them entrance to something, or you give them access to a physical product or service or concert, or special, unique piece of music that you ordinarily wouldn't distribute to everyone. These are all great ways to utilize an NFT, And if YouTube normalizes that or standardizes that at a scale that YouTube could, it's going to take a lot of the technological hurdles away from an awful lot of creators. So yeah, they have the opportunity to centralize something that should be decentralized, and they may actually Googleize it, which, you know, you could argue wouldn't be the greatest thing that ever happened, or maybe it would be, because if you're a creator who is so concentrated on the tech that you are creating, on the content you're creating, you may not have the ability to create tech that is equally competent. Most people, you know, might be able to point a camera. It doesn't mean they could build a camera. And most people can drive a car. It doesn't mean you can fix or repair a car. And the people who can fix or repair or build cars don't necessarily drive them well. And the people who, you know, who are great coders are not necessarily great content makers. They communicate and they express their creativity in different ways. So I think there's probably room for YouTube to get into this business. The question is, how will they get into the business? And that question, you know, how will YouTube actually get into NFTs? I think that's a big question mark. And I know they're thinking about it long and hard. So we'll see what happens. We will definitely see what happens. Last week, the DOJ seized $3.6 billion in Bitcoin, the largest NFT seizure ever. This is amazing. This money was stolen from FTX back in 2016. It was a $4.5 billion heist. And no one knew where the coins, well, they knew what wallets they were, but they didn't really know what happened to this money. They've been following this money around a long time. Those of you who are under the impression that a Bitcoin transaction is anonymous, let me set you straight. The wallet may be owned anonymously, but the transactions are on a public blockchain, the Bitcoin mainnet. So it's, you know, where the coins go. What happened here was really interesting. This woman, who doesn't really look like the mastermind of an international smuggling ring, but maybe she is. Her name is Heather Morgan. She's 31 years old. She's accused, along with Ilya Lichtenstein, her 34-year-old boyfriend, of conspiracy to launder 119,000 Bitcoins. 119,000 Bitcoins. Officials took about 94,000 Bitcoins out of their possession last week and hauled them off to wherever you haul people off to who have that kind of money. And in the end, what was really interesting is that what nailed them is they were using gift cards to launder the money. So a $500 Walmart gift card. Now, I don't know how they thought they were going to get rid of $3.6 billion, $500 at a time. Clearly not thought through the whole way, but they tied the Bitcoin back to the gift cards, the transactions back to the gift cards, and that was sort of the end of that. I don't know how you feel about laundering money, but I would think you'd need to be more competent than that in order to do it. Here's a question from the outside world. How was the Jackson Hole event? Okay, Jen L., thank you for that question. I was at a thing last week called The View from 10,450 feet, put on by Bernoulli Locke. The CEO there is a guy named David Palmer, and he's no relation to me, but he's amazing. He's an amazing individual with an incredible backstory, and he put on the company Bernoulli Locke put on this wonderful event called The View from 10,450 feet in Jackson Hole. I was lucky enough to go out and host and moderate for the couple days. First of all, Jackson Hole's amazing. So if you haven't been there, you should think about it. I've been there in the summer many times. I hadn't been there in the winter. Took my skis, took my wife. We had a blast. Mountain's fantastic. They haven't had snow since earlier in the month, way earlier, like I think actually mid-January. And so all the locals were saying, this is the worst snow ever. But my wife and I, my family, we ski up at Stratton, so in the East Coast. So like the greatest day at Stratton is not as good as the worst day in Jackson Hole. So it was pretty good skiing. But what was really interesting was the event itself. So many interesting people, artists and artisans, technologists, business people, marketers. It reminded me of going to an early TED conference where, you know, you might go sit on the floor during lunch and Sergey Brin might be sitting next to you having a sandwich and you're like, wow, he eats sandwiches. And that's, you know, it was like that kind of thing. And then you just talk and it'd be normal. There were people there from every economic strata, from every part in every discipline of every industry, and it was super, super interesting. We did talk a lot about NFTs, but we also talked about the metaverse and Web3 and the promise of DeFi, and it was just a great way to be introduced to a whole group of people who all had their own ideas about what is Web3, what is an NFT, what is crypto, what does it mean, how do you invest, how do you feel like sometimes we're talking to ourselves sometimes, when we have this kind of environment where I'm just, pontificating or just, preaching about what I think about the metaverse or crypto or whatever. Or even in a panel discussion with one or two people who are all like-minded or people who like to buy crypto and hold it, you get a point of view, and that's a good point of view. What I loved about this particular event was that there were so many different opposing points of view, so many people who didn't know anything about crypto, but they knew about business, or they knew a lot about finance, but not so much about DeFi. Fantastic to hear all these opposing points of view and these, I wouldn't even call them opposing, just different worldviews or different views of what the circumstances are around what we're doing now. So it was pretty exciting, Let's see. Edward Manicheski, welcome. Shelly, the Facebook meta ads conversation is complex as cookies have been wiped by Apple and now Google. The impact on retargeting has been monumental and has forced small and medium businesses to look elsewhere for yield. Yes, Facebook got crushed by ATT, Apple's transparency protocol, because they couldn't go retarget. Very few people would opt in to being tracked across the web, and Apple definitely went out after Facebook. Google has been threatening the end of third-party cookies for quite some time, and that's also going to have an impact on how Facebook retargets and how it also just tracks you around the web, for sure. The Facebook issues are deeper than that. They've had an immense talent drain. They've invested an insane amount of money in the metaverse. They own that value chain, Edward. They've got almost a monopoly on the hardware engineers and the software engineers. They've got like 10,000 open headcount that they're all looking for metaverse peeps. I'm not even sure their strategy's right as I think about it. Is the world AR, VR, cartoon people in a cartoon universe? Could be. I don't think that's very new. They're certainly spending a lot of money on it. You got Roblox, you got Decentraland, you got Fortnite, you got Axie Infinity, you got Second Life from 20 years ago, basically. I mean, this is not a new vision of the way people might spend time online. Is Horizon, their office meeting world, the right way to go at this? They don't own any video game companies. I mean, they really haven't done anything in video games originally. They're not into the office the way that Microsoft is, right? Microsoft is deeply into the office with Windows and the Office suite. And everybody I know hates Microsoft Teams. But if you look at the roadmap for Teams, it's a much more robust roadmap from an office communication perspective. They have very deep understanding with HoloLens for training at Microsoft. They have a very good and deep understanding of Office tools, and they have millions of Office customers. So if the thought process at Meta is that Horizon is going to be a new way to take meetings and they're going to go in through the Office side, Microsoft has them kicked. I mean, they're going to crush them. And no offense to my friends at Meta, if they're really thinking that they're going to get them on the video game side, let's think. They have decades of experience with Xbox. They have decades of experience with buying video game studios. They have a great video game strategy where they are trying to get you onto a subscription fee, and they're trying to offer all their exclusive games free with that. All their original games free, and the ones they own free with the subscription, but they're still distributing them all over the rest of the interwebs. So, there's an amazing competitor in Microsoft who you probably would count out as being not a metaverse company and pretty boring. But if you look at Meta's strategy to go to the office, Microsoft has them beat there. Hell, Google has them beat there. And if you look at their strategy to go in through gaming, Facebook's got no games. Meta has no games comparatively to a Microsoft. So I think there's I got a lot of questions. So Edward, you're right. It's very complex, and I wasn't in any way trying to say that Meta's problems and their $250 billion loss in market cap was specifically related only to the lack of growth at Facebook and tangentially the headwinds that they might receive from their 7 million individual small medium business customers. What I was just trying to emphasize was that the only thing that I don't know what's going to help or hurt Meta right now. Mark Zuckerberg has his hands full. He's a smart guy, and he personally lost like over $30 billion in the last couple of weeks. So I'm sure he's highly motivated to get that back. But the only point I was trying to make was that realistically, when small businesses get hurt, and they do now, they are apparently letting Facebook know that they're going to be hurting. That says something to the overarching economy. And that's really what I was trying to say, that I'm not concerned for Facebook that they see headwinds in their advertising. I'm concerned for us, right? This is like, the local bakery can't do their advertising because they're hurting. Could this be based on real inflation versus what we think inflation is? Could this be supply shock still from pandemic? Could this be the Great Resignation or laying flat? Could it be a combination of everything? And the short answer is, yeah, I think it is everything. And the canary in the coal mine, I think the canary in the coal mine was Facebook's earnings call, because they have their finger on the pulse. Literally, they have their finger on the pulse of what's going on with respect to small businesses. So, there's that. That was really my only point. Here, we want to talk a little bit about Monero. For those of you who don't know, I think a lot of people, when you think of cryptocurrency, you think of Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the grandparent of all cryptocurrency, to be sure. That's the crypto that we talk about when we talk crypto. Anything that's not Bitcoin is called an altcoin, A-L-T, coin. Ethereum being the biggest, but it's less than half the market cap. You got about 800, I want to say 800 million. Right? Am I right about that? Somebody told me the market. Someone look up on Google while I'm out here the market cap of Bitcoin. It's 800 and change, and I want to say Ethereum Ether is around 350 and change. That's my kind of remembrance on that one, and you can just check me and let me know if I'm right or wrong. I think I'm right or wrong. But all the other altcoins are smaller than that, smaller than Ethereum. And there are different kinds of coins. We've talked about them in the past. There are stable coins that are pegged to US dollar, either dollar for dollar or some fraction of a dollar, USDT, USDC, BUSD, all of these different stable coins. There are CBDCs, central bank digital currencies, like the digital yuan. China just did this interesting thing with the digital yuan. They're letting foreigners buy digital yuans at the Olympics this week, which I thought was really, really interesting. You'd be kind of a little crazy. Yeah, 827 billion. Thank you, Joey. So Bitcoin has a market cap of 827. I'm going to say, 368 for ETH. So, I got it about right. And everything else is much smaller. CBDCs are central bank digital currencies. The yuan is a paper yuan, a digital yuan. Same. Monero is a different kind of coin. Monero is a privacy coin. And what makes Monero fascinating in every way is that you really don't know who you're sending it to, and you really don't know who anybody is. And they go out of their way to make this true. So Monero is mined by the biggest Monero pool. And by the way, it's XMR. If you don't know the initialism for the coin, it's XMR. It's hard to buy. You'll find it really hard. It's hard to find on know your customer exchanges, KYC exchanges that are centralized exchanges like Coinbase or Binance, because they're totally anonymous. And that's foundationally a principle of Monero, that it is an anonymous coin. But it's mined. Mine XMR is like the biggest of the mines. They hit 44% of the hash rate for all of XMR on, I think it was Tuesday, yesterday or the day before. And so this started to get some of the people who are very invested in Monero really scared that a 51% attack might be coming. Now, a 51% attack is when a centralized currency or when a decentralized currency or any decentralized foundational thing, like DAO or a coin, where the decentralized power now becomes centralized and gets concentrated, and some entity, some individual entity or group of people get together and they have 51% control. Once that's true, the thing that they can do and very often will do is either take over the world, which is, that's a thing you can do, or in this case, you could set it up so that you could double spend. Meaning you could actually manipulate the blockchain if you had more than 51% of the confirmation nodes or the validator nodes if it was validation, or the mining nodes if you're mining the coin. 51% attacks are well understood, and you have to have a bad actor. You have to have somebody who has bad intentions, because it requires you to have very bad intentions to go and perpetrate a 51% attack. Earlier this week, there was a DAO. Let me see if I have that. I want to see if I have that picture. I don't know if I do. Did I actually grab a picture for these guys? There was a DAO this week that got nailed. Oh yeah. Well, it's not that good of a picture. It's the people that build finance. So they had a situation where, and I don't know if this would be considered. It's a really interesting question. I don't know if this is considered a hostile takeover of a DAO, or like a 51% attack of a DAO. A bunch of people got together in a DAO that's governed by majority rules kind of DAO. They got enough votes, or enough tokens in this case, to take over the treasury, and they drained it. Now, in a decentralized autonomous organization, the whole point is that there's no central governance. And the whole point of no central governance, right, is that majority rules, and depending on how the DAO foundational principles are written, and what the manifesto is, and what the governance is like, it takes a certain number of people or a certain number of tokens to enact, vote, and approve. And apparently in this case, that's what happened. So this is early days in the world of decentralized finance, and we're not necessarily understanding all of this stuff all the way through. And I think a lot of people in build finance got shocked that they got hostily taken over, and the treasury got drained. Remember, a lot of people stake this money. People stake in the money, and they're expecting to do something else with the pool, and then someone just decides, okay, well, we're here, small number of people, and we drained it. So that's the same kind of issue the Monero people are scared about. Difference is with Monero, because of the way that Monero is structured, I think even if there was a 51% attack, and this is something you might want to research on your own actually, because of the way Monero is structured, you can only get ahead of it so far because of the anonymity on both sides of each transaction. It would be incredibly hard to have a 51% attack that was super, super deadly to Monero. But what I'd love you to do is go and take a few minutes to go read the foundational principles of Monero, or I've got an article, a couple of people have an article about this 51% attack, and understand the tokenomics involved. Get a deep understanding of why Monero is a little bit more resistant to this than, let's say, a Bitcoin would be, or an Ether would be on Ethereum. In practice, it would be pretty tough to mount a 51% attack at Ethereum. You need a lot of people involved. Less people than you think, but a lot of people involved. The big mining pools could all get together, and if they were so inclined, they could have their way with Ethereum, with the Ethereum mainnet. Let's see what else happened this week. And please, I see a lot of questions coming in, and I see the chat is super active. So keep the chat super active and keep asking your questions. And Joey will throw them here, and I'll be able to put them up on the screen. What do we have here? Do I think I have to put this on the screen to read it? Do you think Meta was aware that this drop was going to happen, but worth it as a business pivot, zero growth in the metaverse? No, I think that for $31 billion that Mark Zuckerberg lost, I think that wouldn't have been calculated in any way. That's not paper money. That's money. That was real live value. That was just destroyed. That was value destruction at a level we haven't ever seen. I don't think in any company ever. There are countries that aren't worth $250 billion. That was an impressive amount of destroyed value. Here we're talking OpenSea. They launched a verified customer support to fight Discord scammers, And I want to talk about this a little bit today because the reason they needed to do that, this is, again, this whole show is not about financial advice. This is just for your entertainment and enjoyment and enlightenment. What do we call television? Informative, enlightening, and entertaining. I think that's what TV is supposed to be. Well, this is not quite TV, but this is, again, this is not financial advice. Never, ever, no matter what, under any circumstances, with a $5 wrench held over your head or a firearm pointed at your temple, ever mess with a DM on Discord about crypto. There is no version of the world where a legit customer service person from Coinbase is going to DM you and ask for your private keys or your two-factor authentication. Never, ever going to happen. When someone does that, you can be 100% assured, guaranteed, absolutely certain you're about to get scammed. Say it again. Never respond to a DM on a Discord channel about customer service, ever. No matter what Discord channel it is, ever. Now, OpenSea is going to have a verified customer support area. We'll see what that looks like. And even that, I would check the URL if it was URL based, if it was a website based, chat. And no matter what, your private keys have to stay private. So it should go without saying, anyone with your private keys has everything in your wallet. It's over. Your 2FA, your two-factor authentication, should be just as private. Your seed phrase, which is either the 12 or 24 word, in some cases 25 word seed phrase, no different. You cannot ever share any of this with anyone. Ever. Please. So the idea that OpenSea feels like it needs to have, that it somehow needs to have a way for you to DM them, a way for you to get your customer service in a verified way, they're absolutely right. They need to put that together, and you're going to actually need a way to verify that it's them, and it should only happen inside of OpenSea. Like you probably will have to be logged in with your wallet. You probably have your wallet connected, and I hope they go out of their way to make this incredibly obvious that they're the real people. Couple things, just some shameless plugs. MetaCademy is going to launch this week. MetaCademy is it's a training facility, I guess is what I would call it. It's courses. Basically, it's a engage to earn or learn to earn model. It's completely free of charge. There's no charge whatsoever. And not only is it free of charge, it's free of risk, because at metacademy.xyz, you will learn with test currency, test ETH. You're going to learn to hook up a wallet. You're going to learn to hook up a hardware wallet and why. You're going to learn to mint an NFT with test currency. You're going to learn about metadata and understanding rarity, and you're going to understand the tokenomics across the board. The goal is to teach you to think about Web3 and DeFi and NFTs in the proper way, allow you to experiment and goof around and make mistakes that will cost you nothing and you can't get hurt doing. The ultimate goal is that you'll be able to bring your own expertise to this technology and do something amazing. And that's going to be good for you. It's going to be good for us. We're going to have, you'll earn some badges. Those badges are redeemable for NFTs out in the real world. What we'll do with those NFTs in the real world is we'll have like some merchandise. So we'll be explaining through doing how you would do engage to earn and get real world merchandise, how you would authenticate physical goods with an NFT. So let's say you were doing supply chain or you were doing fraud control. So what would happen with the t-shirt or the hoodie or a hat that you get using this NFT, and how would that serial number that inside the hologram that's sewn into this garment, how would that be represented on the blockchain, and how would this authenticate that this was not a counterfeit good? How would you have title passed from person to person? What would the secondary market look like? all of these things you need to learn. So we're building this in a totally free of charge, totally risk-free way, and I hope you'll come and play with it. You can sign up now at metaacademy.xyz. I'm expecting the first 4 courses, which don't take very long to do. We have, I think, 17 planned. I think the first 4 we're going to at least start beta launching the end of this week. And I saw the demonstration while we were in Jackson Hole. We've done this in partnership with Blockchain Foundry, a wonderful group of engineers in Canada, and we've also been working with Catbotica, the Catbotica NFT peeps, and a company called Motion Tonic, spectacular artists who have done beautiful artwork. So we're excited about metaacademy.xyz. This is where you find it. It's I'm sorry, that's not that's not where you find it. This is where you find it. Metaacademy.xyz, and I hope you will join there, and please come on by. There's a book. It's called Blockchain, Cryptocurrency, NFTs, and Smart Contracts, an Executive Guide to Decentralized Finance. It's on Amazon. I donate my part of the proceeds to charity, so it's pretty cheap too. I think it's like $2.99, and if you've got certain Amazon stuff, it's free. And then we have pgx.tech, which is our private social network, and all the stuff we talk about. It's like a giant comment section. There's 3,200 members, I think. You can join. Just click in the description of this YouTube video. There's a description that just says a link. pgx.tech, and that'll get you right on to PGX, and you'll get to talk to people and hang out, and it's kind of super fun and always good convos there. I really enjoy the conversations, and it's a fun place. Who in your organization is running Metacademy? Well, Metacademy is set up as a DAO with a few members, and they include the guys at Blockchain Foundry and Catbotica and the Palmer Group. And I'm doing the content, so I've got about 170,000 words written for Metacademy. Blockchain Foundry is doing the underlying technology, and so their engineers are toiling the machines and doing a wonderful job. It's a Web3 website that you'll be able to connect your wallet to. It was really important to me that we teach in the environment we're teaching about. So rather than do this at courses.shellypalmer.com, which is our regular LMS, where we teach all the stuff that we do in our regular business and our regular consulting practice, I wanted Metacademy to be a Web3 site. So it is a decentralized site. It is, everything about it is really interesting. We've got a Web 2.5 zone that's going to take us to Web 3, and everyone's going to learn all about how that all works, which is super exciting. And then the third partner is the Catbotica group, which includes the wonderful artists Will Chang and Darren Rawlings from Motion Tonic, and Jin Kim, who is the CEO and visionary behind Catbotica. So we've got very seasoned NFT people, incredible great graphics people, the guys at Motion Tonic. Blockchain Foundry, which some of their people are Jag Sidhu, their CTO is one of the co-founders of Syscoin, very, very well steeped in, or one of the founders of, I don't even know how to describe this, one of the leaders in SSID and DID technology, self-sovereign identification and decentralized identification technology. Jag is a genius. And so much of what we're going to be doing is about play to earn, learn to earn, engage to earn, how we change the media business, how we actually connect content to smart contracts, and how we allow creators to share in the value they create, but also users to share in the value they create. So it's not just about the creator class going in there and you build some content and people get to use it. The goal with Metacademy is a little deeper than that, because what we're trying to do is we're trying to set this up so that when you're working in your Metacademy courses, you will be able to take that knowledge and either create campaigns or create environments where users can engage to earn, or learn to earn, or play to earn. Also, you'll be able to create environments where you as a creator can share in the value you create. So this is the kind of promise of Web3. We don't know where it's going to go, but if people don't actually get to do the work, then you're not going to know how to do it. So the easiest thing for us to do is just build this site, make it free for everybody, make it risk-free so no one loses any money. Everything's done with test currency. And if you're wondering how we make money, we're going to make money the way we always do. I'm doing this instead of writing a book this year. And what do I do with my books? I write the book, and then companies hire me and they say, hey, come and teach our executives about this. And we do executive trainings, and I go to trade shows, and we'll do whole days and seminars and summits for people on Web3, and I will use this dynamic environment as the textbook, as opposed to using a textbook which would guaranteed be out of date the moment you got it. The moment we press send, it would be done. So this is going to be a dynamically updated every day, just place to go hang out. And we've had a lot of people ask us about it, and it's like super fun so far. At some point, we're going to open source the platform and let other creators create, and let other consultants use it, and let other companies just, I've got a bunch of universities that have reached out. And speaking of universities, if you're interested, if you are a corporate person, a government person, or an academic person, if you're interested in hanging out with us at the Newhouse Advanced Media Lab series, we're putting together a whole bunch of events that bring these three groups together: corporate, government, and academia. The goal is just to press the envelope on advanced media, and that includes all the stuff we talk about here on Web3 Wednesday. We're going to be doing NFTs, we're going to be doing DAOs, we're going to be doing all things DeFi. So if you're interested, just please reach out. You can get me. Where can you get me? You can always reach out and get me at Shelly@ShellyPalmer.com. I am completely happy to answer your emails, answer your questions. If you've got a DeFi project or a Web3 project or any project that you want to talk about, every morning I get up right now, I feel like I'm a 10-year-old, just super excited about being alive and excited to go to work. We're inventing the future every single day. Every day, we're inventing the future every day. So you can be part of that. And if you've got an idea, or you've got a project, or you've got something cool that we should know about, or you need some help, just reach out. And if you want to learn more about what we're doing at the Newhouse Advanced Media Lab series, or what we're doing at Med Academy, or any general questions at all, I'm totally happy to answer them. As you guys all know, this is absolutely my most favorite time of the week, because I get to hang out with all of you. I think we have time for one more question. Let's see what this question is from Weekend Warrior. Can't really read it where it is. Let's read it. Oh, I can't really read it there either. So let me just move in here. Have you talked about the fact that NFT is just a contract, and the images, video, data sits in servers, which the NFT points to? Am I wrong here? No, Weekend Warrior, you're not wrong here. In the 3 minutes we have left, I will say the following, and you are 100% correct. An NFT is a ledger, and on the ledger there is either a URL or a URI or a pointer to a secret place or a public place where the video, audio, image, or all three are residing. That could be an Amazon AWS bucket. It could be in Azure. It could be on a private database somewhere. It is very rare, almost unheard of, to have any content on the blockchain, because it's so expensive to store content on the blockchain, and such a bad idea. So mostly an NFT is a smart contract, and in that metadata is a pointer, and that pointer points to the asset. How do you authenticate that asset specifically from the ledger and the ownership? Yeah, there's a whole bunch of places where things can go horribly wrong, and often do. One of the giant misconceptions about the blockchain is that if it's on the blockchain, it's true. No. Anything written to a blockchain that's verified, the only thing that's verified is that that information is on the blockchain, and if it's proof of work, that a bunch of confirmations have happened, and the computer that did the most work the fastest confirmed that that was real, and they wrote it, and then the nodes behind it wrote it. The only thing true is that it's written to the blockchain, and that it's immutably written to the blockchain. Whether that data is true or false, you know nothing. You have nothing. You know nothing. It could be true, could be false. The only thing real is that it's on the blockchain. So yeah, an NFT. That's why I said, whenever you're thinking about a project, a blockchain project, you got to ask yourself, why is any blockchain technology, regardless of what it is, a better solution than a well-structured database and a secure password in Web 2? Because, the whole banking industry worldwide works that way. Web 2, secure passwords, encrypted data. So, and it's fast, and it works great. So if you've got a blockchain project, you better understand why the blockchain is the best solution, as opposed to why you wouldn't just use normal technology that you find easily find engineers to do. I think we'll cover that in great detail next week because it's a fun topic. I think we'll go deep into why blockchain versus something else, because that's always super fun. For now, we're at the witching hour, so I just want to thank everybody so much for coming. Again, if you want to reach out either on Twitter or you can email me. And with that, I will say thank you very much, and we will see you all next week. All the best, everyone.